Hello students, my name is Alisha Hashmi and today we will be doing the last part of our unit 2, which is a business organization and its types. Now when we talk about what is a business organization, basically business organization is the kind of the business in terms of structure. Basically, who is running an enterprise, who has the command over it, and who all constitute that particular business is the structure of an enterprise, which is known as business organization. Now, there are various types of business organization. There is sole proprietorship, there is partnership firm, there is joint stock company, then there is a private in joint stock company there is private limited and public limited, and then comes cooperative society. So we'll see each and every one with its advantages and disadvantages one by one. But before that, we need to understand how do you choose the form of a business organization. First, we need to know what kind of business and what nature of the business are we running. Then what is the scale of operations? Is it a large scale organization, or is it a medium scale organization or a small one? And the size, is it run on the local market or on a national market or international? Then what kind of the degree of control is desired by the owner? How much capital is required for the establishment? What are the risks and liabilities, and how willing is the owner to bear it? And then comparative tax liability. All these things are need to be taken into consideration while you actually go for selecting a business organization. Now when you talk about sole proprietorship basically means that the company is run by a single owner. All the power and control is in a single hand, a single individual. That is known as sole proprietorship. Now for example, a tailor, alright, he is running a shop and he is handling everything by himself, so he is a sole proprietor. And other example can be for example a vegetable vendor, alright, everything is under his control. Then you can go for small scale industry, wherein there is one single owner and there are 4 to 5 employees under it. Again, if you go to the rural side, you see for example a carpenter, he himself is owning that business, he is giving services to the people and he has employed certain labor under him. So he is a sole proprietorship who is taking decision, who is earning profits and giving whatever salary he want to give to the employees under him. Now as I said, the owner is a single individual, he himself is the manager only. If he is starting a business, he is the only person who will be supposed to go for as a source of capital. And the proprietor and the business enterprise are same in the eyes of the law. Never ever does the law differentiate the proprietor and the business enterprise, because single person is running it. Now there are various advantages also. It is an easy formation to set up a company by a single person is very easy. There is better control because only single person is there, so he can take prompt decision, and flexibility in operation is there. He can plan and execute accordingly. There are very few regulations when it comes to sole proprietorship. No income tax is supposed to be paid, and all the profits that the company actually gets is owned by that one single owner. Then there is disadvantage also. Owner has unlimited liability. Now limited liability is basically means that whatever share you hold in a company, only that much of debt you will be incurring. Now when you are a single owner, whatever debt you will be having is your own liability. Then it becomes difficult to raise capital because investors are not very comfortable in taking risk when a single person is actually involved. then the business has a limited life. When a single person is running it, there are times where the life of the business is very very limited, because in case some mishap happens, then the business will be closed. Then he cannot run the business solely on a very large scale. A single person cannot be everywhere, so he will have to manage with the size of the business. Then comes partnership firm. Now partnership firm basically consists of two or more individual under the Indian Partnership Act 1932. Here 2 is the number of partners which is minimum, and 20 partners at the maximum. The relation between the partners is created through a contract, and that is a written contract, not an oral one. That written contract is known as a partnership deed. The firm means partners and partners means firm. If you talk about that company, the company will always be known by the partners, not by a single person. The profit is also divided between the partners as per the agreement, as per the partnership deed. No partner can alone sell or transfer his interest firm to anyone else without the consent of the other partner. Then again, there are advantages of partnership. Firstly, it can be formed easily. If 2 people agree to a condition or a contract, a partnership deed is made, it is formed. Then larger number of resources are available because 2 people are there, so they can easily manage all the resources, and hence you will get larger resources. Then risk is also shared in case there is any financial risk or anything. It becomes easy to share it, and risk taking capability hence increases. Flexibility of operation come into being, and better management can be done because different people are better in different skills. They have different skill sets, so managing various departments and various spheres becomes easy. Then again, in this also, as per the regulation, there is no corporate income tax, and very few regulations are there for partnership companies also. Here also limited liability is there, because unlimited liability is there, because you are owning share of a certain company, and then whatever debt you will be incurring, you will have to pay back. Then limited life is there. For example, I am working with one partner, and he discontinues the partnership, so either I will have to shut down the business, or I will have to minimize my operations. Then it again becomes difficult to raise capital, and there are very high chances of dispute, because different people have different opinion, and everybody will be wanting to force their opinion on the company, so that becomes a dispute or conflicts. There are joint stock company, which is the third one. Joint stock company is basically where there is a voluntary association of people, and they contribute the money to the people to start a business, to carry on the business. It is basically a separate legal entity. It comes into formation after Indian Companies Act 1956 are completed. Then management and ownership are two different things here, owned by someone else and managed by someone else. Capitals is raised through shares which are transferable. If I want to transfer my share to my friend, I can easily do that. Then limited liability of shareholder, because they are shareholders and promoters, they will have limited liability. That means the amount of share they are holding in the company, only that much of debt they will be incurring. These corporations and joint stock companies can easily raise capital. They have unlimited life. Why unlimited life? Because so much of investment is done and so many people are managing it. Then transfer of ownership is very easy. Formation is not easy. Government regulation are very high. Then you need to pay corporate tax also here and dividend tax also. So basically here you have double taxation. And delay in the pricing decision happens, policy decision, because too many people are involved. You need to consider the views and opinions of every single person because they hold a share in the company. So policy decisions become very difficult, and it is basically controlled by a group, so conflicts happens very easily. Then two types of corporations are there. First is private company. Private company is held by, the group is very small, not very big, minimum 2 people and maximum 50 shareholders. Stocks cannot be traded on exchange and private equity cannot be raised. Less regulations as compared to public company. Then public company, here the stocks are held by large number of people, minimum shareholders are 7 and there is no limit for maximum. It can be listed on stock exchange and can go public. Here you will have to follow many laws and regulations of the government, and the board composition is also done by the government only. Then the last one is cooperative society. Cooperative society is again a voluntary association of people or business to achieve economical growth with social perspective. So here both the things are kept into consideration, social perspective also and economic growth also. Basically it's a voluntary association. Minimum membership is 10 and no limit for maximum. Registration of cooperative is under Cooperative Societies Act. After the registration, enjoys all the privileges of a joint stock company. There are various advantages. Easy formation is there. Again, limited liability is there. It is a stable company and demographic management is very easy. Where you want to sell your product, at what price you need to sell your product, how you will be catering to social needs also, and managing economic growth also becomes easy. Then government also, state government also give you certain assistance by guiding you by subsidies, etc. There are various disadvantages as number of people involved are huge. Possibility of conflict increases. Large number of people take decisions after putting their views and opinions together, so long decision making process happens, and there are times where you lack capital also. So with this we finish our second unit. I hope you have understood every topic. In case you are not able to understand any topic, you can feel free to message me and ask and clear your doubts. Thank you very much.